Hey, what's poppin', fellas? It's your boy Tacho here, and we're back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. Okay, so Fay Pass owners, today we got our copy of Resplendent Tana, a pretty awesome character. Tana was actually my very first waifu from the Fire Emblem series, and even though I had played Fire Emblem 7 before playing Sacred Stones, it didn't really matter to me. I never clicked with the cast in Fire Emblem 7 for some reason, so I didn't really have a waifu in that game. But in Fire Emblem 8, it's a completely different story. I love the cast in Sacred Stones. There's some really great characters in that game, like Tana, of course. We got Marissa, who's really antisocial. We have Larichel, who lives in her own fantasy world, who's pretty funny. We got Jarek and Joshua, some pretty badass characters. So there's really no shortage of awesome characters in Sacred Stones. Let me know in the comments section down below, actually, who was your first waifu from the Fire Emblem series? I'm interested to see what you guys have to say about that. But anyways, I digress. Here we have Tana in the Resplendent artwork, and she is wearing the fairy attire. So I think that is a good fit for Tana. She had a bubbly and happy personality in Sacred Stones. And also, Erica's her best friend, and Erica also got the fairy treatment. So I think that kind of makes sense there. Now, I do think Tana had one of the better 5-star artworks in the game. I remember when Tana first came out, I thought this was like one of the best artworks at the time. So I don't really feel like she needed an artwork fix or anything like that. But here we are anyways. I guess they probably sell the Fay Pass more when they make the 5-star Resplendents, even though obviously everyone is waiting on the 3-star and 4-star ones, so we can go for those juicy merges. But it is what it is. Okay, so if we go ahead and take a look at Tana's base kit, Tana comes with Vidofner, Moonbow, Speed and Defense 2, and Guidance 3. And Tana was actually the first character to come with Guidance, which was a big deal at the time. I remember when I first saw Guidance, I thought, yeah man, flying type units are going to be the best type in the game. And really not much has changed. I still feel like flyers are probably the best type overall. They can avoid obstacles, and they have all these crazy movement skills that can help your other units do pretty much the same thing. We got guidance and ground orders, etc. So yeah, flying types are really bananas movement type. But as far as the rest of her kit goes, it's not like too crazy. Speed and Defense 2 and Moonbow aren't that spectacular. And Vidofner, even though it is her perf weapon, what it does is it grants 7 defense and 7 res to her if the foe initiates combat and they have a 1-range weapon. So all your melee types, including the dragons, after the refine anyway. And it also grants attack and speed up 4 to Tana, assuming she's within 2 spaces of an infantry or armor type ally. So you get a bunch of stat bonuses from it, but overall, it does suffer from early refine weakness, where a lot of those early refines don't hold up to some of the refines we have now, unfortunately. Okay, and recommended IVs for Tana, I would say you probably want to go plus speed. She does have super moons in both defense and res, but see, the thing is, I don't really think you want to tank hits with Tana too much. Her defenses are pretty well-rounded, but they're not like spectacularly high. And going plus speed anyway is going to avoid getting hit by double attacks with Tana. So it probably leads to more bulk in the long run anyway. And it's also better for offense, of course. So I do think plus speed is what you want to go for. And if we go ahead and take a look at the budget build here, we are going to be running Vidofner with the refine. And you are going to have to run infantry and armor type allies on the team with Tana if you are to gain the attack and speed bonus from this weapon. And that's not going to be too hard to do if you have guidance on her. Really, units that have guidance are meant to assist your other units with the movement type anyway. So armored units are going to be a prime suspect to run with this Tana, especially if they have save skills. Like, let's say they have far save. They'll be able to swoop in and tank bow attacks for Tana, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, it's a basic build for budget. we got Fury 3, and we got Desperation. The tried and true combo, even though it is very brain dead. And we're going to go for Attack and Speed Solo as the seal here. I do think it edges out Brazen Attack and Speed a little bit. It's only 1 point less on the stats, but you are going to be able to gain the stat bonuses even before you fall before the HP limit. So I do think the solo skills are going to be better than the Brazen skills just by a tad bit. And as far as other options go, you could try like the flyer buff skills. Hone flyers, fortify flyers, goad and ward flyers. All of those are going to work out just fine if you want to have Tana buff some of your other flying type units. Or there's also Attack Tactic, which works out pretty well with Vidofner's Refine, needing you to have additional movement types on the team anyway. So those are just a couple of options here. And if we go ahead and move on to the high investment builds, we're going to start with a player phase build. So we have Ninja Yari, Dive Bomb 3, Speed and Defense Rain, and Swift Sparrow. A pretty badass build, if I'm saying so myself. I've been using this build on my Minerva in Hall of Forms, except of course with the Ninja Axe. And this build is just downright broken. Any of the flying type units that can have the ninja weapons and Dive Bomb are going to be stacked beyond belief. And Speed and Defense Rain also just makes the build so much better. It's so crazy that these flying type units have the rain skills in the C slot, because typically you don't really gain any stat bonuses from the C slot, but flyer types are able to actually do that. So it's just some bonus power and bonus speed that Tana can get here. We also have the Attack and Speed Solo Seal once again. I don't really think you're going to be changing that, because there's not anything that's going to offer as many stats as the solos. And then Ruptured Sky as well, a pretty bananas skill on this build, because you're hitting so many times with Ninja Yari. It's going to be very easy to keep on smashing the foes with Ruptured Sky. And because the ninja weapons have low might, Ruptured Sky using the foe's attack to calculate for damage is also a really good thing. So nasty build, nasty, nasty, nasty. You could go for Gale Force though, and Odd Tempest if you wanted. Those are going to work out just fine as well. Gale Force is going to help her just move in and attack like a boss, hit multiple foes on the same turn. And Odd Tempest is going to give her the 3-range mobility. So also a very good skill. Not quite as mandatory if you have other ways to raise movement though. Like one of the duo skills mainly, such as Duo Pala, or I guess Trio Pala. So just a couple of other options, but I do think you want to stick to the main build that I've shown on screen. And last but not least, we have a bulky build for Tana. Unfortunately, we are going to be throwing Vidofner in the garbage, and we're going to be picking up Flowing Lance. And honestly, Flowing Lance is just better. It grants lull, attack, and defense 5. And if you go ahead and take the speed refine, it theoretically has better stats than Vidofner. The lull, attack, and defense 5 is like gaining 5 defense and res to Tana against any foe that initiates combat, regardless of melee type or range. And it also works on both phases too. So if Tana initiates combat, she's still gaining the defense bonus. And also with the defense lull, she's gaining more power. And the speed refine is giving her speed. So she's gaining the attack and speed bonuses regardless of being within 2 spaces of an armor or infantry type, as with Vidofner. So Flowing Lance is just a way better weapon, unfortunately. And otherwise, we are going to be running Attack and Defense Unity, Guard Bearing, and Attack and Speed Rain on this build. So you can see how this is really going to play with Tana's bulk and make her pretty good at tanking physical attacks. So what you want to do with this build, I think, is partner her up with an armor type unit, typically one that has far save, and they're going to be able to swoop in and tank any bow attacks for Tana. So that way you can focus on having Tana deal with the melee type foes, and that way her defense is going to be able to see some real use, and she's not going to have to worry about any weapons having type advantage on her. So pretty good. As for the A-slot passive, I have gone for Attack and Defense Unity because I like the ability to swap penalties into bonuses. But you could go for Sturdy Impact instead if you want to play her phase a little bit better. Or you could go for any of the solo 4s. Probably Speed and Attack or Attack and Defense would be the best options. It's going to come down to whichever one you prefer. And I don't think this is a bad build. I do think the ninja weapon build is probably better. But it's cool to stick to the theme of Vidofner on Tana, even if we're not actually going to be using Vidofner for this. And that's going to wrap us up for the builds with Tana. And it looks like our next Resplendent hero is actually going to be Resplendent Elincia. Another 5-star exclusive, another flying type unit, and another Fairy Resplendent. Honestly, I'm getting kind of tired of the Fairy Resplendents at this point. It seems like we've just been getting them left and right now, ever since they realized they could actually do them. Because before, it was like we just never got the fairies, and now we're getting them way too much. But Elincia is a very cool character, and she's also, I would say, probably one of the harder 5-stars to get. So for the people that don't have a copy of her, this is going to be very nice. She does come with a pretty good perf weapon. And as far as the artwork goes, I think it's an interesting choice to go with the Nightmare attire for her. You would think they'd probably go with the Happy Dreams attire for Elincia. But I do like the contrast of the black and green on her. It really fits her hair, so I do like that. And then if we take a look at the injured artwork for this Elincia, she is showing off some cheeks there, which I don't mind, but honestly, I felt like Elincia was a pretty classy girl in Path of Radiance, so I would have liked her to be a little bit more regal and elegant, as opposed to her showing off the booty a bit there. But let me know in the comments section down below what you guys think of Resplendent Erica, and do you like her artwork? And that's going to wrap us up for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And this is your boy Tacho signing out. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.